is centered around, of course, you guessed it, the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. And to discuss these matters, we've got with us here today Attorney at Law Gamini Pereira, Senior Counsel. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation and appearing on this show. We know that the 20th Amendment to the Constitution was gazetted the day before yesterday. It was only published, I believe, somewhere around evening yesterday. So quite a short period of time to go through these amendments and really to have the confidence to come on a show and comment on them. Thank you very much, sir, for taking
Thank you for inviting me as well. Thank you.
Sir, getting right down to the point, the first question really is not on the substance of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. My question to you is, what's the hurry?
Yeah, that's very, very interesting question. You know, now we think that the time period for the president is for 5 years. That is the set up law. Now, even the Constitution, the 20th Amendment suggests the same, and there is no change of the period. Right. Now, when the time period start to tick, that is from November last year. Right. Now it is almost 1 year gone. So the president has to do and achieve his vista of prosperity and the splendor within this short period of 4 years. So for that purpose, essentially it is needed to be hurry and do whatever the constitutional changes then and there, and also not only the amendment of this, to repeal the constitution if necessary.
And to introduce a new constitution. But if I am reading, I'm reading directly from the President's policy statement, Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor, the fourth point in his 10 points to success that he has presented in his policy statement, a new constitution that fulfills the wishes of the people. And it reads, the constitutional changes that have taken place were introduced to suit the requirements of certain individuals and political parties and have therefore failed to reflect the people's aspirations.
Yes.
It is our desire to bring about constitutional reforms in accordance with the wishes of the people. He specifically mentions to a new constitution. Of course, this policy statement lacks details, and that has been the case throughout all the policy statements. But really, that doesn't answer the question, why the 20th Amendment in such a hurry? Why couldn't the drafting of a new constitution be done altogether instead of bringing the 20th Amendment?
Yes. To make such a drastic action within a short period after the appointment of the new parliament is not necessary. And sometimes, you know, now the amendment, 20th Amendment can be done with the 2/3 majority of the entire members of the parliament.
Right.
That was approved by the Honorable Attorney General as well. But when it's come to repeal, sometimes it goes, there might be some issues that it has to be referred
to the
referendum. Then you have to draft this in such a way to avoid these unnecessary things, and also not to burden to the people's finance, and not to cost the country as well. But at the same time, there might be some kind of consensus and in agreement with the opposition as well. Sometimes when it comes to the constitutional forum, right, the entire parliament, sometimes it might be the reason that the opposition and the other parties who represent the parliament may agree with this, and then there should be some kind of new constitution.
So let's dive right into the content of the 20th Amendment right now. One of the major accusations that are being leveled by civil society, political parties, especially opposition parties, is the fact that we're going back to the 18th Amendment to the Constitution. We are strengthening the president to a point where almost all the powers are consolidated with the president. Constitutional Council was entirely repealed, so there is no check and balance in that aspect. The President has the power to appoint members of the Elections Commission, the Police Commission, the Judicial Services Commission. The President has the power to appoint the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Justices of the Supreme Court, Chairman of the Court of Appeal, Justices of the Court of Appeal. All of these appointments, the Attorney General,
and IGP,
the Inspector General of Police, now all of these appointments are consolidated with the President. There is the concept of separation of powers, checks and balances.
Yeah.
Can this be achieved?
Yes. Now, I will give a small example. You know, after the Easter Sunday bomb blast,
Right.
the former IGP and the IGP who is on compulsory leave,
Right.
still there, that the president couldn't remove his post
Right.
from his post, right? Now there is a conflict, there is a crisis. That's a very simple thing. The police commission or the council, parliament, I mean constitutional council,
Yes.
cannot remove the attorney general,
Inspector
IGP,
General. Right.
IGP, for a simple reason. So now there is a problem, there is a contradiction, there is a huge issue which the people who are running the government cannot do whatever they want, and now see the acting IGP is running the government.
The police division.
I'm sorry, police force.
Okay.
So, don't you think that these things has to be corrected?
But how can the independence...
experience always gives you the amendments, needs the amendments. I'm not agree with you that again it comes to the 18th Amendment. That is wrong. Maybe you said that, but
Right.
I am not in agreement.
Right.
But this is something need by the people.
But let me explain to you why I said that it's almost going back to the 18th Amendment, because the President has the powers to make all the high appointments, including the Attorney General, the Inspector General of Police, members of these commissions. There wasn't an Elections Commission, it was the Commissioner of Elections that was appointed previously, and that too was appointed by the President. So those powers are back with the President. Speaking about the immunity of the President, again,
Yes.
the 19th Amendment introduced provisions where you can file a fundamental rights applications against the Attorney General in respect of anything done or omitted to be done by the President. Now, all of these have been removed. All of these were not there in the 18th Amendment to the Constitution.
here-
that is the parallel that I'm trying to draw.
In this amendment,
Right.
the president is responsible to the parliament.
It's quite interesting that you brought up that point, because that was going to be my next question. Now, the Constitution says here that the President is responsible to the Parliament. But how is Parliament going to exercise or to use that power of oversight over the President? Now, when the Constitutional Council was present, they had the power to vet the nominations of the President, especially when it comes to high appointments, which is how mainly all these institutions in the country run. But now that the Constitutional Councils are gone, that the independent commissions are gone, that the civil society representatives in the Constitutional Council are gone, how is Parliament to exercise this power that has been given to them by the Constitution to hold the President responsible to Parliament?
Now, you can't forget that the appointment of the president
Right.
is directly by the people of this country.
Right.
That is the democracy. At the same time, the members of the parliament also appointed by the people.
Right.
Now the check and balances goes to the both places.
Right.
Now, the person who obtained the majority of the votes from the people, more than 1 million, more than 1.4 million than the other person, is the person who is the head of the state.
Right.
So don't forget that it is democratic way that he was appointed.
Right.
So if he is doing something wrong, surely If there is anything wrong, the parliament can enjoy their rights to make such a checks and balances.
How?
Against? Yeah, that is normally that is from the beginning. Today, from 1978
Right.
Constitution, even today, there are provisions that you can impeach the president. Whether it is happened in this country or not, it's a different issue.
Right.
But there are provisions to impeach the president. So there is a way that you have to do it. Those are there. Those are not repealed. Those are not amended. Those are there, still there. But can't you remember when His Excellency, the President, Maithripala Sirisena was there? So he always criticizing that he couldn't do anything because of the Prime Ministers is in the other side, because the officers of the government are doing something else. He couldn't do anything constructively. So just giving away the power may be a concept, maybe a good concept, but for the people there should be some strong hand to run this country for the prosperity. That is what at this moment, at this time, with the global economic developments, we need to have strong hand to run the country. That is why I agree with the amendments, even though it is centralized, some kind of powers to the president.
So let's speak a bit about the abolishment of the National Audit Commission and the National Procurement Commission. Now, especially the National Audit Commission is a body, an independent body, or at least used to be an independent body, or still is an independent body, as the 20th Amendment has not been passed in Parliament as yet, is an independent body that really exercises checks and balances over how the executive functions. Now, when this Audit Commission is abolished and a Commissioner General for the Audit Department is appointed, Auditor General is appointed, how do you think the Auditor General can hold the President accountable when the President is the very person who is appointing him? The President or the Ministers of Cabinet, the entire executive.
Yeah. Now, generally when you have an internal auditor in a company, I'm just talking about an example.
Right.
Internal auditor, he is directly responsible to the chairman of the company.
Right.
Why? That is obviously the appointment also done by the chairman. The same thing is for this country. There is no problem, because he is the person who appoints the Auditor General or the Commissioner or whoever, but he is responsible directly to him. If there is any problem, he can remove the Auditor General. He can remove the Auditor General.
But then it will no longer be an independent Auditor General.
How can you say not independent? That is what we say, the people's mandate given to the President. They have approved the President's mandate, or his policy statement. Therefore, that he has to work. Now, I will ask a question, in return, if you don't mind.
Yes, no problem.
Now, is there any person in this country that you heard criticizing the President during this period?
Of course.
I never heard a single person with a substantial merit. There is nothing. Maybe people are talking, everybody may get some blame, but we see even the opposition, maybe some of the extreme people, all are in same line to develop this country. What I feel, there should be some discipline in this country. For this, the President must have the full power. Now, earlier, it's like two heads. The Prime Minister doing something else, the President doing something else. But they are not in agreement. What happened to the people? But until now, you can see the power vested with the the president is now in operation. 100,000 employment to the downtrodden, from the downtrodden mass, and then 60,000 appointments to the graduate people. All these are done to get the quick decisions. You must have power, otherwise you have to go to this man and go to that man, and then it will be again a disaster. So,
Attorney at Law Gamini Pereira, we need to cross over to a short commercial break. This has really been an interesting conversation, and we will get back to it. After this commercial break, we will speak about the Elections Commission and the independent commissions that was quite cherished in the 19th Amendment, and the reasons for them to be abolished. Stay tuned. You're watching Newsline.
Newsfirst, Newsline.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. Attorney at Law Gamini Pereira, we've only got 8 more minutes left, so we really need to cram in a lot of content into this time period. Let me put forward my first question to you. Sri Lanka has a history of having jumbo cabinets, and these jumbo cabinets, or the cabinet portfolios, being handed out as favors or as thanks to the support that certain presidents did get. There was a cap on the number of ministers that was introduced to through the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. It was set at 30, non-cabinet ministers at 40. 70 ministers can be appointed in whole. Now, some argued that this even is too much, because for a country like even Canada, a developed country, there are only 20 cabinet ministers. The cap was removed through the 20th Amendment. Do you think this is the best course of action?
Yeah, now the way that the portfolios are named, right, and recognized, right, is a different from the earlier, right, from the history either. Now we are going for a national kind of economy. Now you see, now our country, now the import, there is a import restrictions as well, right, most of the consumer items, right. Likewise, we have to develop our country in a various areas. Sometimes one minister cannot look after this. That is what the experience of past. Maybe 7 ministers in Germany, and some other country maybe the less ministers. Of course, if you spend money on them just for the friendly personal privilege, surely I am against that. But when it's come to a small kind of subject matters, but directly going to the root of this country people, you know, something like indigenous things like maybe medicine, maybe pottery and things like that. So then there is a person who can straightly focus on the matter and then develop those areas. So in the event of the next term, I think you don't want to have such a big cabinet.
So your point of view is that this removal of the cap of ministers is temporary, so that we can have many ministers to develop the country temporarily, and then cut down the number of ministers.
No, not many ministers we need. What there is a provisions. The using that provisions is a matter that we have to decide in the future. But you don't want to that much of restriction when you consider the way that it was formed the last time, this time, you know.
So I'll ask you for a bit of a prognosis. Of course, after the 20th Amendment, if it is passed in Parliament, and there's a good chance that it might, given the fact that the government has a 2/3 majority in Parliament, do you believe that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa would appoint more ministers, or would he limit the number of ministers to 30?
I am sure that he will limit the number of ministers as per the requirement.
So the requirement is unlimited?
No. Requirement is unlimited in the perspective of the people who appointed as the members of the Parliament.
Oh, so the requirement is in the minds of the people
not
who
the
appointed
people.
the president?
The people requirement is the matter to His Excellency the President, not the persons who appointed to the member of Parliament. Maybe most of the member of Parliaments are not in agreement with him, right, at this time as well. Okay. Therefore, I believe a person like His Excellency the Gotabaya Rajapaksa only look at the people's mandate, not the MPs who were appointed to the country, and just to please them, the cabinet will be make kind of a huge, and as you said, mega cabinet.
All right, one final question, because we have only 4 minutes left. We've in Sri Lanka experienced 2 of the most peaceful elections in the history of Sri Lanka. Do you agree? Yes or no?
Yes, but it's a peaceful election.
Okay.
But there are some criticism against the commission.
The independence of the commission.
Independence of the commission,
Right.
and also the way that they have acted during the last period.
So do you think?
But the mandate, I mean, the election is held very independently.
So do you believe that, now you raised the question regarding the independence of these commissions. So of course the answer to that is to create more independence in the commissions. That would be the remedy to this. Do you believe that giving the president a blank check to appoint the commissions, the elections commission, the chairman of the elections commission, all of these appointments really increases the amount of independence that these commissions have?
Now, I think you have to correct it this way. The president can only appoint 3 members to the commission.
Right,
The membership is increased.
right.
The chairman can be appointed, but still the president is responsible to have a proper and independent election on the advice of the commission. That is what the draft says. So, you know, the last cases, I mean previous cases where constitutional cases were heard in Supreme Court, and at that time the 3 members are in a different point of views, and some people represent, a lawyer represent for the commission, and the chairman is supporting the
But I
commission,
believe you're
and things
really
like that.
referring to the
Individual
commissioners, but I'm questioning you on the procedure. The procedure of appointment of the elections commission is not based on just those 3 appointments.
Exactly.
If we go to question that, we will have to go back to the time when President Mahinda Rajapaksa was president, and even before that, and all the commissioners of elections that were appointed then, and question their independence entirely, because those people were appointed by the president.
Yeah, you cannot just talk without the individuals. Whether this individual is wrong, then you have to have the power to remove them, not wait until their term is end. Now there is a fixed term, the earlier amendments. So if the person is not suitable, then you have to wait until the end of the term. I think that is not proper. So people, the members of the commission are integrity, part of the commission. So if someone is going back, someone is going against the policy, someone is going against the wish of the people, that person must be removed. That power must be there. But that doesn't say that the president can intervene for the peaceful and independence function of the commission.
Thank you very much, Attorney at Law Ghamini Pereira. Unfortunately, we do not have enough time to discuss all of these matters in depth. But of course, for our viewers out there, we've got many more shows lined up to bring to you the exact details of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. A more broader discussion, of course, you can expect on Face the Nation coming up this Monday at 9:30 p.m. We will be exclusively focusing on the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. You will get to know everything you need to know about the 20th Amendment to the Constitution from people, especially in the profession, experts in the field, much like Attorney at Law Ghamini Pereira, Senior Counsel. Thank you very much, sir, once again, for taking time off your busy schedule and attending this show on such a short notice.
Thank you very much for joining for this.
And thank you very much, of course, to all our viewers out there who tune in every night at 8:30 to watch Newsline. Of course, we will be back on Monday. And until then, take care and God bless. Have a safe and blessed weekend. Newsfirst.